Can't believe we're into October and it still feels like June, but we'll certainly take the wonderful weather we've been blessed with. Before we have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, I just have to share this. Pastor Gibbs knows where I'm going. Jeremiah Gibbs is the pastor of our local church right behind us, Christ United Methodist Church. Him and I have something in common. He might be the only Marine that I know that's actually a pastor. And I love sharing that because we carry that bond together, but it's a hidden gem people don't realize. So, but if we would get everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Pastor Gibbs saying a word of prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a word of prayer. God of wisdom and justice, we pause. We pause in gratitude for the opportunity to serve this city that we love. Grant these leaders clear minds, steady hearts, and the courage to seek the common good. May every discussion tonight honor truth, elevate fairness, and respect the dignity of all who call Westfield home. On this Disability Awareness Month, we pray especially for the residents of our city who struggle to make their way in the world because the limits of our institutions and our buildings and our prejudices have placed on them. Help us to be always mindful of their thriving. Guide us toward this day in unity and purpose and compassion in action. Amen.
Well said. Thank you. President Tam, would you like to take the meeting, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Can we start with note the presence of a quorum? Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Thank you. The next order of business this evening is the approval of minutes from our last council meeting. Assuming everyone has had the opportunity to review those, I need a motion and a second.
After review of the minutes, I make a motion to approve the minutes from 9/22/25.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Next order of business is approval of the claims. The claims docket of 10/13/2025. May we have a motion and a second?
Make a motion to approve the claims docket as presented for 10/13/25.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor Huff. Any discussion this evening? Seeing none, may we call the roll?
Chad Huff.
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Patrick Tam.
Yes.
Kurt Waniger.
Yes.
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Noah Herring.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We do not have any changes to the agenda this evening. Chris, do we have any residents that would like to address the council?
Yes, we have 4 cards this evening.
Great.
First, we have Veronica.
Good evening, Veronica. Before you start, you have 3 minutes. It's really not a Q&A session, but you have 3 minutes to address the council on anything you'd wish. Thank you.
Thanks. Good evening, council. I'd like to raise a couple questions/concerns regarding the benefits included in your 26 budget. Specifically the decision to include retirement benefits for the city council. The budget anticipates a city-funded 401A match for the council members. Under the city's human resources policy, this benefit is reserved for full-time employees. Current policy does not authorize part-time elected officials to participate. The eligibility rules make clear that only employees meeting the full criteria full-time criteria may receive this benefit, and no policy provides for city-funded contributions on behalf of part-time council members. Including this benefit in the budget without a formal policy change in public discussion raises both legal and ethical concerns. Legally, the city cannot provide a benefit outside of established policy without adopting a resolution to authorize it. Ethically, approving such a benefit without public scrutiny creates the appearance of a governing body granting itself compensation behind closed doors. I also understand there's been discussion about adding the council to PERF, which is the state's public employee retirement system. This benefit has also traditionally been reserved for full-time staff, not part-time elected officials. If that's true, then this change feels unusual, and honestly, it raises questions that deserve public discussion. With this budget adoption, each council member will earn just under $19,000 a year. In Westfield's case, participation in PERF means the city pays both the employee and employer shares, which is about 14.2% of wages. That comes to roughly $2,680 per council member each year, or about $18,700 per year for all 7. Over the 2 remaining years of this term, that's around $37,000. And if council members continue this benefit through another term, the cost could reach over $110,000, all paid from the city's general fund. It's also worth noting that PERF requires 10 years of service to be fully vested. So unless someone serves for at least a decade, they won't receive the full pension of benefit. And if they leave after 1 term, the city doesn't get those contributions back. They stay with the state, not the taxpayers who funded them. And since elections can't be predicted, this just isn't about you guys. It could be a permanent benefit for whoever holds these seats. When we talk about transparency and stewardship, these are the kind of decisions that test those values. With a budget increase of around $13.5 million, residents are already uneasy about how much money is being spent. Adding benefits for elected officials quietly through a budget line sends a message that's hard to justify. I urge the council to remove the 401A match and the PERF from your 26 budget until you can hold a public discussion and, if desired, explore lawful eligibility before taking any action. The public deserves transparency, accountability, and clear adherence to this policy.
3 minutes.
Great. Veronica, we just need your full name and address for the record. Thank you.
Veronica Winkleman. My address is 16430 Lakeville Crossing.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Next, we have Reagan Garman.
Is it okay to start?
Yeah, you're great.
Hi,
Thank
I'm
you.
Reagan Grauman. Good evening, members of the City Council. I do not believe we should pass the proposed 2026 budget this evening. I have significant concerns regarding the impact of the Senate-enrolled Act 1, SEA 1, and the limited detail available to the public about the budget. It appears that we are planning to spend more than ever before, yet we are being told that cutbacks are necessary. This raises questions about how we will balance these demands. While I appreciate the efforts to address revenue losses, I am concerned that without a clear understanding of all budget details, we may not be making fully informed decisions. I respectfully request that we delay the vote and provide everyone with an additional 2 weeks to review more detailed information and ask questions. Possibly have a community listening session where the public could come and get a presentation about the full budget and be able to ask questions. This would ensure transparency and allow the community to better understand the budget's implications. Thank you so much for considering this request.
Reagan, did you provide your address to Crit? You have?
You have to do it on the mic as well. You have to say it into the mic as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Reagan Grauman, 19988 Prescott Place Drive, Westfield, Indiana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Deirdre Mortison.
Good evening. My name is Deirdre Mortensen, 293 Chatham Bend Drive. This is my first city council meeting, and I love where I live, so I hope this will be the first of many. So what brought me here this evening was about the budget, and I wanted to make comments about financial reporting. We live in one of the best counties in America, Hamilton County. And it is obvious that Westfield has a trajectory that can poise it as one of the best cities in America, much like the surrounding cities like Carmel, Fishers, and Zionsville. I moved here from Fishers, as at that time I thought Fishers was growing too fast and was concerned about their government integrity. My roots are from a large city with a well-known corrupt political machine. I'm sure you guys can all guess where that's from. And I've just found when cities grow too fast and true transparency is not apparent, it can cause concern for the political landscape, which is what I think may be happening in Westfield. Transparency is so important, and there are some concerns here. If the goal is truly to become one of the best cities in America, we need to make sure that our growth does not fuel deficits, that spending tax revenues that are not yet realized is a priority, that self-enrichment of government leaders and potentially business counterparts or cronyism does not happen, and that population growth is managed to ensure property values and quality of life are being maintained, and that political power does not derail our integrity. This is what we trust our government officials to do for us. The city I left Westfield for, coming here from Fishers, has sustained their growth while excelling in financial reporting. Their controller's office consistently receives GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association, which is a nationally recognized organization, certificates of achievement for excellence in their financial reporting year after year. This is what Westfield should strive for, not just growth, but being the best in government reporting, publishing the full budget, books, and full transparency. So I implore the City Council to strive to be recognized with excellence in financial reporting.
Thank you.
Next, we have Michael Mortensen.
Good evening. She's a tough act to follow. Very much so. My name is Michael Mortensen. I live at 293 Chatham Bend Drive in Westfield. Like many who chose Westfield as our home, we expect high standards in fiscal responsibility and transparency. On major fiscal items, residents benefit from ample advance notice and clear, accessible materials so we can review and respond before votes are taken. We've also seen large contracts advance without clearly independent, pre-awarded review visible to the public. Oversight tends to come after the fact through state audits rather than before commitments are made. Taxpayer dollars come from families and businesses who budget carefully for themselves. You have a fiduciary duty, a responsibility to manage our resources wisely with transparency. What I'm asking for is open budget work sessions with materials posted in advance, at least 14 days of public notice before major votes beyond the legal minimum. Use nationally recognized transparency benchmarks, such as GFOA, best practices awards, to guide how budgets and performances are presented. Independent review for major contracts before award, and public scorecards after, showing on-time, on-budget results and outcomes. On sensitive topics like council benefits, please commit to full, open discussion with clear cost, alternatives, and justification before any vote. Transparency and fiscal responsibility shouldn't be a talking point. Westfield's governance should aspire to high standards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Nass, 1122 East 161st Street. I prepared a spreadsheet and handed that out, and I have it available electronically. But I've compared the budgets from 2020 to 2026, and this wasn't available to us when we had the budget hearing, and some other things have changed. But our budget has gone from $43 million to this year proposed at $165 million. And the large increase came in 2025, actually. 2024 was the last budget by the last council. It was increased considerably. So I put it on a spreadsheet to show you that last year the general fund was over 75 million. This year it's proposed at 59. So evidently we're spending a whole lot more money than we have. But what I looked at, and we've always done before, and we've gotten documentation, is comparing to other cities in Hamilton County. According to Indiana, Stats Indiana it's called, our population is 62,944, Carmel's is 103,606, Fishers is 107 even, and Noblesville is 75,239. One thing that the state and county follow for us is per capita tax breakdowns and the tax burden. So in Westfield, we are by far the highest per capita tax burden with this budget this year. It will be $2,621.11. At the Carmel rate of budget, that means ours is nearly $20 million more. Carmel's budget per capita burden is $2,322, so nearly $300 less. Fisher's is $1,572. That's almost $1,100 less per person. That's kids, adults, anybody. Noblesville is $1,668.66. That's nearly $1,000 less per person. So if you compare that, at the Carmel rate, our budget is running at $20 million more. At the Fishers rate, we're running at $66 million more. And at Noblesville rate, we're running at $60 million more. So it doesn't seem like our budget is in line. I know there is a desire by some to be the largest city in Hamilton County. However, we've not had the start that everybody else has. Carmel's been growing for a lot longer than we have. So I'm concerned about this. I asked to get a copy of the sustainability report. It was not given to me. That is a document paid for by the taxpayers. It has always been available to the public for years and years and years. It's like 176 pages. It compares everything, gives you revenues, takes you back like 10 or more years. And that, now that we have a new mayor, we don't have that
President,
available.
it's been 3 minutes.
So it's hard to know what the financial picture of the city is when we don't have all the information. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you.
I handed that out to everyone.
Yep. Do we have any more residents that wish to address the council this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to our special recognition miscellaneous business. Our first item of business this evening is a proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Mayor?
Thank you. And I forgot my reading glasses, so this is going to be fun. If I say anything incorrectly, I apologize in advance. Nicole, I think you guys are up first. You want to come on? Yes, you, Nicole, in the front row. Actually, let me set this up here. All right. Nope, actually, you're first. Come on. This is what happens when you can't see. I'm okay. I think I can read it. I may do this, but I can see it. How are you? You notice my purple? Look at all the purple up there, except for Chad. Joe's got everybody but Chad and Noah. Way to go, guys. All right. Whereas domestic violence remains a serious public safety and health concern that affects individuals and families across all communities, and its harmful effects are felt throughout the state of Indiana, including right here in Hamilton County. And whereas Indiana continues to face one of the highest rates of domestic violence in the nation, currently ranked 5th, with more than 40% of women, 27% of men experiencing intimate partner violence in their lifetimes, and deeply impacting individuals and society as a whole. And whereas in Hamilton County, organizations like Prevail Incorporated provided support to more than 3,100 survivors and families last year alone, demonstrating both the magnitude of the issue and the community's commitment to addressing it. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month calls upon us to support survivors, promote their safety, and ensure offenders are held accountable under the law and honor those who have lost their lives in domestic violence, and pledge to work together to eradicate this issue. And whereas prevention is possible, and through education, outreach, and community collaboration, we can empower individuals, families, and community members to recognize signs of abuse, intervene safely, and foster relationships rooted in respect. And whereas all survivors deserve access to safety, justice, and healing, and we reaffirm our responsibility to ensure those rights and resources are available and accessible. And now, therefore, I, Scott Willis, Mayor of the City of Westfield, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the city of Westfield, Indiana, and encourage all residents to speak out against domestic violence, support survivors, engage in prevention efforts, and help foster a safer, stronger, and more unified Westfield. In witness hereof, I, Scott Willis, have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the great seal of the city of Westfield, Indiana, on this 13th day of October.
My name is Tammy Waninger. I'm the Executive Director for Prevail. I also happen to be a Westfield resident, and I have some Westfield residents here who are also friends of Prevail. And we just want to thank you for creating awareness, for also just being able to share about Prevail into our community. I feel strongly that community does strengthen survivors. So thank you all and thank you to the City of Westfield for honoring Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
If I might put a plug in for them, I don't think people realize that we have these kinds of problems in our community. It's real, even here in Westfield. And I can tell you, just since I got involved in politics and really reached out and started to learn about these non-for-profits, especially companies like Prevail, need help. They need resources. They need financial support. If you have a little extra money in your pocket and you're looking for a place to donate it, it is real, and she needs help. So please reach out to Tammy, reach out to myself, or anybody up on council. We can make that connection. But any support would be greatly appreciated. Nicole, why don't you come up next? This one's near and dear to my heart as well, because I helped get this thing started several years ago. So let's dive into this one. Whereas America's economy is stronger when every individual has the opportunity to thrive and contribute meaningfully, and whereas people with disabilities have historically faced barriers to employment and access, but, oh my goodness, that light's really hurting me here. But landmark legislation such as the Rehabilitation Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act have secured civil rights, dignity, and equal opportunity. And whereas more than 61 million Americans living with a disability enrich our communities throughout their talent, leadership, and contribution, strengthening our workforce and our nation. And whereas the federal government and local communities continue to advance equality by ensuring fair wages, accessible workplaces, inclusive hiring practices, and investment in infrastructure and technology that support full participation. And whereas during National Disability Employment Awareness Month, we honor the lasting impact of people with disabilities and reaffirm our commitment to removing barriers and promoting opportunity. And whereas the City of Westfield stands united in celebrating inclusion, advancing accessibility, and ensuring every resident has the opportunity to pursue their fullest potential. I was almost there. Now, therefore, I, Scott Willis, Mayor of the City of Westfield, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as Disability Employment Awareness Month. In the City of Westfield, Indiana, encourage all residents to embrace the talents of workers with disabilities, promote equal opportunity for all, and help foster a more inclusive, accessible, and unified Westfield. In witness whereof, I, Scott Willis, have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the great seal of the city of Westfield, Indiana, on this 13th day of October. I know how much you love saying a few words. I'll say a few words on your behalf. So I'll say a few words on the disability council that we've established in Westfield. You know, one thing about disabilities, if you don't know somebody, if you don't have a family member that's deeply touched by this, I hate to tell this to everybody in this room, but at one time in your life, you too may be disabled. We all one day could be disabled. That's just reality of life and the aging process. So if you're not passionate about it, you probably should be, because one day you may need that support. So again, we're not fundraising for the Disability Council yet, but it is a very important piece of what we're doing here in Westfield. If you're an employer, please stay open-minded to accommodating those who want to contribute in our community, but just need a little extra help. And with that, I want to say one other thing. Tammy Waniger is the spouse of Kurt Waniger. Nicole Sutherland, her husband is not here, but he is one of our finest. He's a captain in the fire department. And that just shows you how certain families in our community are truly ingrained in giving back to our community. So thank you both for your service. Thank you both for dealing with your spouse's service, which I know can be a very, very much an inconvenience. And I think that's it.
Thank you very much. Obviously, the wives are much brighter than their husbands as well. So, our next item on the agenda is our Director of Public Works, Mr. Nell.
Yeah, thank you, Council. For the record, John Nail, Director of Public Works, City of Westfield. I've been asked to give a quick presentation just on some Public Works updates for you all this evening. I know you have a lot of important things to discuss, so I'll try and keep it brief. Couldn't start this presentation without bringing in the Bobs from Office Space. I know the Council knows what Public Works does, but maybe to level set for residents listening in, you may not know. So the Public Works Department is really split into two separate departments. On one side is the street maintenance or street department. The other side is the engineering department. I'll go into detail about what those different departments do for the city, but it suffices to say we do quite a bit. So on the street side, we are responsible for maintaining all city assets in our public right-of-way. That includes your typical pothole filling and pavement resurface, patching, those types of things, sidewalk repairs. We also are responsible for snow removal. It's getting to be that time of year. We are gearing up for winter weather events, and we'll be ready to clear our streets of that pesky snow that we seem to get every year. On the engineering side, they are responsible for asset management planning. So that's our annual resurfacing program. It's also other pavement preservation techniques that they perform, as well as long-term capital improvement planning. I'll touch on the capital improvement plan that we introduced to this council in April of 2024 and provide an update on that, but that was really the engineering department that put that plan together. With all the residential neighborhoods that are being built, we also provide construction inspection in our community. So as developers, turn what was a cornfield into single-family housing, they have to build city streets that we will own and maintain in perpetuity. We want to make sure that that contractor is building those streets to our standards, so we inspect all of that infrastructure that gets constructed in the city. We also have stormwater, the stormwater department within engineering. They are responsible for dealing with any flooding issues. Wes Root is our stormwater coordinator, runs that department, and then our stormwater utility billing also falls into that group. So for residents that pay a quarterly stormwater utility bill of $15.99 currently, that billing management is within Public Works as well. We also provide right-of-way encroachment permitting, so any utility or anybody doing work in our right-of-way, we know who is out there doing what, and if there are damages done, we know who to go after to make sure we get our sod restored and things of that nature. We also, of course, do construction plan reviews and other duties as assigned, which is kind of a catch-all because we do get asked to do a lot of different things in Public Works, including helping out with events and some other stuff. So what's 2025 been like? If you've driven around on our roads or attempted to drive around our roads this summer, it's probably been pretty frustrating. We have had a lot of closures. We've had a lot of detour routes. We do appreciate your patience in working with us. I can assure you that we are doing our very best to get those projects completed in as quick a manner as possible to provide that long-term improvement for our residents. I know it's been frustrating. I've been on the receiving end of many angry voicemails and emails this summer, but we do appreciate your patience along the way. And I'll touch on a couple projects that we have completed as a snapshot. So we did complete so far 3 roundabouts this year. 151st in Town was the first one that was completed. I have complete in that slide. I will note that there's some aesthetics things that we need to complete still on that roundabout. When I say complete, it is open to traffic. It is functioning as a roundabout. There may be some sodding work and some touch-up stuff that still needs to be done. 181st and Wheeler roundabout, I'll touch on that in a little more detail here in a second, but that was a really important one for our school system. So we completed that construction in the summer while school was out of session, because 181st Street is a very important route to school, given the proximity of the high school to the east. We also completed 161st and Springville roundabout. I'll touch on that in a second. And then we have several ongoing roundabouts still. 171st and Ditch, Town and Old 146th are ongoing. And of course, our State Road 32 project downtown is still ongoing. We also completed a 151st Street reconstruction just west of town. That was a standard sort of reconstruction where we did some slight widening to provide travel lanes that are the minimum, but really provided fresh pavement out there as that roadway seems to continues to get more traffic out west. And of course, I mentioned our resurfacing program. So State Road 32, as a reminder to folks maybe listening at home, this is what we're working towards in our downtown. It's a 4-lane boulevard section complete with a roundabout at East Street and State Road 32. It includes some streetscape items, street trees, and really kind of spruces up our downtown corridor, in addition to providing congestion mitigation with some additional capacity of that roadway. You may ask, why the heck has State Road 32 been closed all this time? Why was it closed from Poplar to Union this summer? Well, among several things that had to occur was this large box culvert, 14x6 box culvert that was installed. You can see Union Square there in the background. This is looking to the south. And really this type of construction installation, I won't say can only be done under a closure, but it is significantly easier to do under a closure. It's more cost effective. It's faster to get that constructed. It's safer for motorists as well. And then additionally, we had a lot of utility relocation work in this area, including sanitary sewer and water main relocation that occurred between Union and Poplar during this closure time. You may note that the green building is just barely cropped out of this picture. I do want to pause for a second just to recognize that we understand that neither this administration nor this council was really involved in negotiating the framework for the mitigation that included the green building relocation and restoration. And there's been a lot of discussion in the public sphere lately about the cost of that rehabilitation work. I do just want to make my commitment to this council. I appreciate you guys kind of being involved in this, even though you didn't have a say at the table. But I want to commit that we fully intend to get this building moved, rehabilitated, and make it really a gem and an asset for the city moving forward. So I mentioned 181st and Wheeler. We constructed this purely when school was out of session, and really happy with the contractor, really happy with the timeline of this project. Just a nice little drone shot from our informatics team that captured this shortly after we opened. Thank you, Chris. And 161st and Springville roundabout. This is a really important intersection in our community. This one opened up, unfortunately, we had a delay in getting this open, and my apologies to our residents for that delay. We are going to learn from this and be better in the future, but really pleased with the functionality of this roundabout. It pushes a lot of traffic through very efficiently, and some huge safety improvements as well with this roundabout as opposed to a signalized intersection. So I'd love to stand here and tell you that the construction is going to stop after this year. It's not. We do have several upcoming construction projects next year that I'll touch on. One of the biggest ones is the Monon Tunnel. We've been talking about this for a long time now. Just a quick update on where we stand with that project. We are through an eminent domain issue where we do have appropriation to access that ground. We also have completed the water main relocation work that CEG did on the south side of the roadway. The only thing remaining really is just some stakeholder coordination with some folks at the retreat on Monon regarding landscaping, rights of entry, making sure we're screening that project appropriately for those residents that live on the south side of 161st Street adjacent to that construction. We expect construction to start in earnest in early 2026 on this project. And as a reminder, 161st Street will remain open throughout construction east-west. We were able to plan ahead on that, and there will not be a closure of 161st during construction. Additionally, I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's a mule barn widening project in the works. That's inclusive of some turn lanes on State Road 32 and some widening of mule barn to the north of 32. And the other big one is 191st Street from Tomlinson to Grand Park Boulevard. We're widening that existing 2-lane road to a 4-lane boulevard section, and it includes a pedestrian bridge for the Monon Trail over that 191st Street roadway. Really excited about that for our Monon users, a much-needed safety improvement, and this bridge will act as a gateway into Grand Park. So we're excited about that project. 2 roundabouts, both at Grand Park Boulevard, one at Grand Park Boulevard and 181st Street. That'll occur in the summer, again, when school is out, very similar to what we did with Wheeler and 181st. And then Grand Park Boulevard and John Dipple, this is just to the north of the aforementioned intersection. That will be a roundabout project as well, offering safety improvement, and it will act as a gateway and entrance into our new police station headquarters. So kind of a nice project there to help beautify the police headquarters, some really nice architecture with that project, as well as provide a safety improvement. And then later in 2026, Westfield Boulevard Connector. This is the roadway that'll connect the north side of Lantern Commons up to 169th Street, inclusive of a roundabout at 169th and Westfield Boulevard. And then lastly, we still have projects in design. So these are projects that will be in construction in 27, 28, somewhere in that time frame. And I'll touch on 191st Street, what I'm calling Phase 2 from Grand Park Boulevard to Spring Mill Road here in a second. We also have a much-needed roundabout at 169th and Oak Ridge Road that we got some MPO funding for, a grant fund for that project. Town Road Extension project that I'll touch on in a second, and then some downtown roadway projects, including Jersey Street reconstruction, which will be adjacent to the new Grand on Main development project that's been recently announced, as well as a Cherry Street Bridge over Grassy Branch project just south of Field Brewing that'll take what's existing a 2-lane bridge, widen it to allow pedestrian facilities, and improve hydraulic capacity of that structure, and then some drainage improvements around the Union Bible College campus as well. So I mentioned 191st Street widening. This is Phase 2. So next year we'll be constructing from Tomlinson to Grand Park Boulevard, kind of to the right of the screen. This is Phase 2, and as a reminder, we've talked about this with council previously, but from Grand Park Boulevard over to Spring Mill Road, this is the concept we're working towards in design. What you'll see on the screen is 191st Street moving to the west and sweeping to the north to tie into Horton Road with a new roundabout just west of West Fork Whiskey. And then continuing to the north and tying into Spring Mill Road there at the entrance to Osborne Trails with a new roundabout at Spring Mill and 193rd Street there. Originally, we had planned this project to be a 4-legged roundabout tying Spring Mill into 191st Street at that Horton Road roundabout. But in conjunction with economic development and discussions with our city council, we felt like having what would amount to be about a 30-acre parcel adjacent to Grand Park open for development would be a very desirable thing. So we did make a tweak to that design and carried Spring Mill to the north so that we weren't bisecting that 30-acre parcel. The parcel I'm talking about is right here. And then Town Road Extension. So to orient yourself, north is to the right of the screen. This is the new Westfield, Washington Transportation Center and Middle School. This is State Road 32. And then Westgate neighborhoods down here. This Town Road project is going to reconstruct Town Road, carry a new alignment roadway across Little Eagle Creek Avenue with a new bridge, and tie into State Road 32 with a signalized intersection at that transportation center entrance on 32. So this will really be an arterial for a lot of our residents out on the west side of town, and it's really to get ahead of some of that growth and some of the additional traffic that school campus is going to create on the western side of our city. I mentioned the capital improvement plan. April 2024, we put forth this 8-year plan. It's $186 million in capital improvements. To date, as I stand here today, we've spent or invested $27.8 million of that towards that capital improvement plan, which is approximately 15% complete. Budgeting for 2026 contemplates an additional $37 million in investment, which will bring us to about 35% complete by the end of the year 2026. A lot of investment, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of exciting projects along the way. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't just compliment and take a second to shout out our street department. I know I've spent a lot of time talking about long-term planning and engineering projects. Our street department's really the unsung heroes of public works. They don't get a lot of credit for what they do day to day, but we have an incredible staff, very professional, very hardworking, gentlemen in that department. I do want to point out a couple of initiatives that they're working towards in 2026. So we'll be moving towards self-performing more of these asset management activities, including crack sealing and patching. The reason for this is it's just more cost-effective for us to do these projects in-house. And frankly, I feel like the quality that our guys can provide are better than the contractor's quality that we would hire out. So it's kind of a no-brainer on that front. And then I do want to specifically shout out a change in 2026 that is a direct cost savings for our taxpayers. We have CDL, or commercial driver licensed drivers in Public Works. That's what you have to drive some of the large dump trucks that have plows on them and so forth. Historically, we've spent about $3,000 per person to send that person off to CDL school, get trained, and take the test. In doing some additional investigation and really challenged by Mayor Willis to find cost savings in the budget for 2026, we found that we can actually self-certify. We can get a certification to train folks ourselves in-house. And that brings our cost down to just a couple $100 per person as opposed to $3,000 per person. When you factor this out to several new street laborers that will be coming in over time, this is a substantial savings for our residents. It also allows us to have some scheduling flexibility. You can imagine if you send a laborer to CDL school on a very sunny, bright day when they could be doing productive work on the streets, we can now schedule that out for rainy days or snowy days where we may not be able to do other activities, so we can work on training them for the CDL. So very excited about that initiative. And then the tasks as otherwise assigned portion of that, the street department has worked on several demolition projects on Park Street to help out economic development. We've also constructed some of those temporary parking lots that you see along Park Street over the years, again, saving our taxpayers a lot of money to perform these activities in-house. So with that, I will stop and answer any questions you may have. Thanks.
Any questions this evening for Director Nail? Councilor Waniger.
Not really any questions, just some statements. As I mentioned, when you send that PowerPoint out today, you guys are selling yourself way short. You guys, I know, do a lot more than what you had listed up there, probably another 100 things between each of the bullet points on that first slide. So we appreciate what you and the street department does on a daily basis. And every time I call to ask for a dead animal, a wildlife animal to be picked up off the road, I appreciate that as well, as I know the residents do, and they don't have to see them. But no, we appreciate the work that your guys' department, I can say, normally I don't like to speak for my other counselors, but us as a council as a whole, we wanted to reinvest the money back into our community. We had previous councils that didn't do that, so that's a large burden upon yourself. When we took council, there was over roughly about 60% of the funds that the city ratepayers paid into the city was not being used. It was unappropriated. And fire stations were not being built and being kept up with. Station 83 was built back in 2009, and we were behind on our fire stations. We were behind on our police department as well as public works infrastructure. And I think residents of the community appreciate the money that they're paying be invested into valuable resources that we can use within our community. So I appreciate what you guys do, and I know it's a big burden on your department because we allocated a lot of capital funds for improvements in our community.
Thank you.
Any other questions this evening?
I'd like to add too, just as a kudos to the Public Works, all of our departments are doing some incredibly heavy lifting over the last 2 years to play catch up. But I will say with John's department, we came off a brutal winter for our roads with the extreme cold and the amount of snow we got. We had a tremendous amount of potholes that we had to deal with at the beginning of the year, quite frankly, on roads that you would have hoped not had it, but because of the weather, it created some cracks. I think our response time was about 24 hours on every single pothole that was called in. These guys have been super responsive, super sensitive to the fact that people who live in Hamilton County expect good roads, unlike maybe other communities to our south. So I just want to give my kudos there because there was a lot of work these guys did throughout the year to help keep our roads clean and safe.
Thank you.
No, Director, you talked about 191st Street. If we could back up a little bit on 191st Street widening and other improvements, really just asking you to restate kind of the schedule and the plan for 191st Street. Is that's we continue to get a lot of requests, some of which don't see the light of day, some of which may. about projects, residential, commercial projects along 191st Street. So if you could just kind of restate kind of where we are with the totality of 191st Street and trying to make those improvements.
Yeah, so we have essentially 90% plans completed on that project. We've started to do some right-of-way acquisition along the north side of 191st Street. We expect construction to start. There's going to be some utility relocation work in the spring that really starts us off. And then construction really in earnest starting in the summer. We'll, of course, coordinate that with Grand Park, and we have a very good maintenance of traffic plan for this project in place that allows us to build the roundabout at 191st and Grand Park Boulevard first with temporary roadway to keep access open into Grand Park. So we worked very close with Matt Trinian previously in design to make sure that that's an MOT strategy that can work for Grand Park. But we'll be in construction next year on that first phase. Once that first phase is complete, that's really a lot of the congestion that we're seeing today is getting in and out of Grand Park. So that segment from Grand Park Boulevard to Tomlinson Road is priority number one. And then that'll allow us to come through in maybe 2 years from now, this section that you're seeing on the screen, this phase 2 piece from Grand Park Boulevard to Spring Mill. I think the key part on this second phase, we get a lot of complaints and concerns about Horton Road turning left from Horton Road onto 191st Street for the neighborhoods that live on North Horton Road. This project will essentially solve that issue. So you're providing a safe roundabout to provide a left turn to continue on the eastbound 191st Street.
And one more thing, if you could add to importance of the Monon Trail and where that is in design and construction in the future, because that's one of the things I think most of the council wanted to address too, is not building roads and creating a bigger problem, but solving a problem as we go along.
Yeah, and I should have been more clear on that. So the Monon Bridge over 191st Street will be constructed in the same project as the 191st Tomlinson to Grand Park widening. So it is bundled into one large project, and the construction will occur at the same time. There's a larger lead time on the pedestrian bridge trusses. That piece of it will happen later in the construction timeline, but it'll happen under one large bid.
And then also, I want to personally thank you for some projects that you may not talk about, but I know are very important to a lot of our residents on some roads that used to be in townships, and effectively a lane and a half, and I know your teams got out there pretty quick after I talked to some constituents in their decaying roadway. And you immediately are working on it, and your team are immediately working on addressing those, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think we were pretty successful. Little Eagle Creek Avenue on the north section this year was part of our resurfacing package. We did really a reconstruction job on that as part of the resurface program. I think it was really successful. I drove through it just the other day. Fresh pavement, slightly wider lanes, but not excessive. Safe lanes, but still narrow enough to keep speeds down, because I know that's important to the residents that live along that roadway. We'll continue to do similar types of projects on the remainder of that road to make sure we're staying up with pavement conditions.
Thank you.
Hey, John, East Street to Union on 32 has been closed for, I think, most of the year. I drive by there a lot, and it doesn't appear a lot's getting done. Some dirt's getting pushed around. Could you give some little insight? I think there's some utility issues or something. Just give the residents insight what's going on there.
Yeah, so the section of 32 that closes from Union over to Poplar, that's going to open up later this month. We're targeting October 28th as the open to traffic. There'll be one lane in each direction in that segment. And it'll be like that, one lane in each direction, until the conclusion of the 32 project, which will be the end of next year.
But is there currently some delay due to utilities or something like that?
Yeah, there's been, one of the challenges of the Sierra 32 project through downtown has been the 15, 16 utilities that exist in that area. Getting them all relocated out of the way of construction has been a real challenge. And Duke Energy has started to mobilize and work on some of their relocation work, which is kind of the last piece of relocation on that project to allow several different activities that need to occur.
Thank you.
John, correct me if I'm wrong, this is good information probably for the council, but also residents sitting in the room. Duke will not start moving those power lines until all the land has been appropriated. Is that correct? Because we had some eminent domain we had to go through. Several parcels ended up in a lawsuit, which is common and certainly understandable. If you own land, the government came and took it, you'd probably fight it too. But Duke they won't lift a finger, they won't order a part until all that's been done and we're ready to move. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So that is a Duke policy that they won't order materials or schedule crews until all land rights have been solidified. So that was a delay on our end to get a couple of easements that we needed to get acquired for this project. I will say I called in a few favors. They did order some materials in advance, fortunately, so we were able to get them to budge a little bit on that. But as far as scheduling crews go, yeah, they were not going to do that until all easements were acquired.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions, comments this evening? Thank you, Director Nail, and thank you to your entire team as well. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. We're going to move into old business this evening, which is our first ordinance is 2562, which is Westfield, Washington Public Library 2026 budget approval. And just to test my eyes, I believe Cheryl, our executive director, is hiding on me, but there she is. Thank you, Cheryl.
Hello, yeah. I'm Cheryl Sollers. I'm the Executive Director of the Westfield, Washington Public Library. I'm here tonight to get the City Council approval on our 2026 library budget. I'm also here to answer any questions I presented at the last City Council meeting, but if anyone has any other questions, I'm happy to answer those at this time.
Thank you. Any questions this evening?
Just to reiterate from the last meeting, this budget is approved by us, and as part of that is the basically the 3-year levy appeal, which will be the last time that occurs, as well as we're just basically approving funds that you already have in hand.
That is correct. Yes.
Correct. Okay.
I need a motion and a second this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 25-62 for the library budget approval.
Second. We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, second by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other conversation, may we call the roll?
Victor McCarty?
Yes.
Patrick Tam?
Yes.
Kurt Waniger?
Yes.
Joe Depner?
Yes.
Noah Herron?
Yes.
Chad Huff?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Our next order of business this evening is ordinance 2546, which is the Lantern Commons PUD amendment. We have a quick presentation this evening by Lauren Gillingham-Teague.
Thank you. I will make this pretty quick. Good evening, members of the council. For the record, Lauren Gillingham-Teague with the Community Development Department. The item up for adoption tonight is an amendment to the amendment to the Lantern Commons PUD ordinance, generally located at the northwest corner of 161st Street and Westfield Boulevard, as outlined on the screen. This is an amendment to permit a proposed mixed-use development comprised of 2 4-story mixed-use buildings with approximately 100 units, several plaza spaces, and a standalone restaurant anchoring the corner right at the roundabout. A neighborhood meeting and public hearing were both held in August, and a workshop meeting was held later in September. The item received a favorable Planning Commission recommendation at their most recent meeting. We have not received any public comments. Matt Skelton with Church Hiddle and Antrim is here to answer any questions, as am I, should you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Any conversation this evening, Councilor McCarty?
I just wanted to add some additional context since we have some additional faces in the room this evening. This particular area, Lantern Commons, this project as a whole, was first approved back in 2007, and then it received an amendment in 2021 to essentially be what it is today, with kind of the mixed uses, as opposed to, again, previously back in 2007, it was just going to be essentially where Walmart is, all paved and big box stores. So it's definitely an improvement from what was initially approved back in 2007. And then this corner specifically, back in the 21 plan, was just going to be commercial. So I'll just add then, kind of a hang up that I had as I was coming through the APC process was additional apartments here. But ultimately my thinking was, well, again, it's been approved for nearly 20 years. And getting some form of commercial online here, I think, is incredibly pivotal. So then outside of that, of course, we had discussions regarding Westfield Boulevard into Union Street and that intersection there, as I know some of my fellow councilors have had concerns with that. But just wanted to add some additional context.
Yes, as someone teaching a certain 15-year-old, it's pretty important to me to drive. That intersection is not a favorite for me, but personally. But The mayor and I have talked at length, and I think Councilor Waniger has a few thoughts too.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think this is a great use of this parcel. I like the concept. I like the architecture and design and the thought that's been put into this development. So very, very in favor of the development that's occurred. I have expressed my disappointment in the intersection there where Westfield Boulevard and South Union tie in, and also not liking the entrance to the development at that area. However, having conversations with Public Works and City, that if that ever becomes an issue in the future, that right in, right out of that development could be removed. And I guess, Jonathan, you want to speak maybe to that a little bit, is regarding that, if it warrants that in the future, or other improvements may be necessary at that intersection.
Just when I thought I could get away. Yeah, so yeah, for the record, John Nail, Director of Public Works. Again, so yeah, we've talked at length about this. We're going to certainly monitor the intersection. Very confident that once Westfield Boulevard is completed up to 169th Street and then thus up to 32, that you're going to see a pretty significant reduction in traffic on Union Street making that turn to begin with. And then we also have some plans for potentially some additional stop signs along Union once that roadway is completed, because the long-term goal for Union Street was to make it more pedestrian-friendly, slower speeds, low-speed roadway, really an urban roadway with lower speeds to make sure that we're creating an atmosphere in our downtown that's pedestrian-friendly. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that that happens, but like all intersections, we're going to monitor the safety conditions. If it becomes an issue or we see signs that it may be an issue, we'll certainly act accordingly.
And if I could just add too, and I appreciate, Kurt, I express similar thoughts as you do to this intersection, but the reality of it is previous administration saw it differently, and that's their right. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying we have a different view. But with all the infrastructure projects we have going on, and you and I talked about that, it's just not top of the priority when I'm willing to bump off other projects like 191st. Or we don't have so much money. And chasing our tails on this one, let's see how the traffic flows through here when all the changes are done. I think we'll end up coming to the conclusion you've already came to, but let us get there first. I will say in future projects, and we'll discuss this more next council meeting, we've got some very unique neighborhoods and other types of things coming as we open up the city to development beyond where we're currently at. We are looking at roads very differently. I mean, we're meeting now to talk about what does the roads need to look like 20 years from now when the development's done versus let's build it for today and we'll fix it 10 years from now, which costs the taxpayer an awful lot of money. So we're looking at things differently, and I promise you, future projects, we won't have these kinds of warts. I can't promise that the next mayor, Wessel, might look at it and scratch his head and said, why did Mayor Willis do that? But that's the reality of change of leadership. But we're looking at it differently. We're trying to get better. It may mean more money up front to get it done right, but at least we won't have to go back later, add roundabouts, widen roads, do other things that we know we're going to have to do anyway. So.
Well, one thing with this development, at least the developer will move Duke's big transformer out of the way for us ahead of the project, right? Right, Matt?
Speaking about the project, just very briefly, I do appreciate the level of attention and design that the petitioners put into this, and then also the mixed-use applications, similar to what Councilor McCarty also said earlier. Do we have any additional comments this evening? Need a motion and a second?
Make a motion to approve ordinance 25-46 for Lander Commons PUD amendment.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor Huff. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Patrick Tam?
Yes.
Kurt Waniger?
Yes.
Joe Deppner?
Yes.
Noah Herron?
Yes.
Chad Huff?
Yes.
Victor McCarty?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Our next order of business is ordinance 2547, which is the UDO amendment, Grand Junction Overlay District, Park and Jersey Street Overlay District. And we once again have Lauren Gillingham Teague.
Thank you. I am filling in for Kevin on this item. Please don't ask me any difficult questions.
That was an invitation.
You know, I should have thought that one through.
Lauren, I tasked Kevin with this so I can answer the questions.
Well, fantastic. Good evening. This item is an update to the UDO. adding a new overlay to a portion of downtown, bound to the north by Jersey Street, bound Midland Trail to the south, and then Poplar and Mill Streets to the east and west, directly west of Grand Junction Plaza. The idea behind this overlay is to ensure that development and redevelopment in this area is consistent with the city's plan and vision, and really just establish this district as a very walkable, pedestrian-focused, cultural and cultural dining and shopping area within our downtown. Kevin wrote a memo for you guys that is included in the packet that encompasses the land uses, architectural requirements, and the adaptive reuse provisions. The item received a unanimous favorable recommendation from the APC at their October 6th meeting after public hearing and introduction. And since this item was first introduced to you, there have been no material changes except for the name of the overlay. It was previously called the Park and Jersey Street Overlay District, and it is now called the Grand Junction Overlay District to better align with some of the other planning documents the city has going on at this time. With that, this is eligible for adoption consideration this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, as long as they're simple.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lauren, because we like you, we're just going to direct our questions to the mayor. So, Mayor, is there any additional thoughts that you'd like to share?
No, this is just real clear. I mean, this is to protect what we've created in the Park Street District. Right now, there's nothing to prevent somebody from coming in, buying up 8 parcels of land, tearing down all those restaurants and buildings, and building a 10-story apartment complex. This overlay will protect the Park Street corridor and the little, doesn't prevent somebody from tearing something down, but they have to rebuild the basic architecture and design and development that you're already seeing established along Park Street. So it's just to take it to that next level to protect us from unwanted development.
Thank you. Any further questions this evening?
And then additionally, just because I sat on BZA when Something Splendid, Rivet, Nyla's, et cetera, where we approved those uses for the area here, essentially creating this overlay district simplifies the future process. Since we already have created that precedent, as the mayor mentioned, it makes the process simpler for those that would like to invest in this district in the future as opposed to having to go through the process.
Thank you. Need a motion and a second this evening?
Motion to approve ordinance 25-47.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Huff, seconded by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other conversation, may we call the roll?
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Joe Depner.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Our next order of business is Resolution 25-149, the fiscal plan for ordinance 2553, which is the Trillium annexation, effectively in concert with ordinance 2553 at the same time, since Ryan's going to be up here for a hot second here. Mr. Collingwood.
Thank you, President. Members of the council, good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. As the President mentioned, this introduction will also apply to the following line item, in which is the corresponding annexation ordinance, ordinance 25-53. The item before you is a 100% voluntary annexation request for the 199th and Monon Planned Development Area, also identified as the Trillium annexation. The total compiled annexation area is about 37 acres. The parcel is generally located on the north side of East 199th Street and west of the Monon Trail. This item received a first reading and public hearing at the City Council's September 8th meeting, and it is eligible for adoption consideration at tonight's meeting, where the resolution and fiscal plan have also been compiled. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions this evening? Seeing none, may we need a motion and a second?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 25-149 for the fiscal plan adoption for the annexation of the Trillium property.
Second.
A motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor McCarty. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Joe Depner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next order of business is ordinance 2553, Mr. Collingwood, which is Trillium annexation. Mr. Collingwood effectively just made the same presentation. If we have any further conversation about that, or can we have a motion and a second?
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2553.
Second.
Counselor McCarty made the motion, seconded by Counselor Waniger. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Depner.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next order of business, very similar to the previous. We have Resolution 25-152, which is the fiscal plan for Ordinance 2559, which is East Street and 196th Street. Mr. Collingwood will present that, but then also in coordination with Ordinance 2559, annexation of East Street and 196th Street as well.
Yep. Thank you, President, members of the council. Again, good evening. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. Again, as President mentioned, this introduction will also apply to the following line item, in which is the corresponding annexation ordinance, Ordinance 25-59. The item before you is a 100% voluntary annexation request for the East and 196th Street Plan Development Area. The total compiled annexation area is about 19.2 acres in size. The parcels are generally located on the north side of East 196th Street and abutting both sides of East Street. The item has received its first reading and public hearing at the City Council's September 22nd meeting, and it is eligible for adoption consideration at tonight's meeting, where the item's resolution and fiscal plan have also been presented. Thank you very much.
Any questions or comments this evening? Seeing none, we need a motion and a second this evening.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 25-152 for the fiscal plan for the annexation of lands as defined in the ordinance on the northeast corner of 196th Street and East Street.
Second.
We have a motion made by Counselor Waniger, seconded by Counselor Huff. May we call the roll?
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Depner,
Yes.
Noah Herron.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Ordinance 2559 is now eligible for adoption. We need a motion and a second.
Motion to approve ordinance 2559.
Second.
We have a motion made by Counselor McCarty, seconded by Counselor Waniger. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Depner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next order of business is Ordinance 2557, which is establishing Police Fund 272, which is vehicle replacement. Presenting this evening is our Deputy Mayor, Danielle Carey-Tolan.
Yes, for the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan. Before you is adoption consideration for Fund 272. It's a police vehicle fund. And again, it's to establish a fund so insurance claims can come in and we can replace those vehicles more quickly when a patrol car is possibly in an accident.
Any other questions this evening? This is old business, obviously, so we had a discussion at our last council meeting. Seeing none, may we need a motion and a second?
Make a motion to approve ordinance 25-57 for the new fund for the Westfield Police Department, Vehicle Replacement Fund, Fund 272.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Waniger, seconded by Counselor Huff. Seeing no other discussion, may we call the roll?
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Depner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Our next order of business is Ordinance 2558, which is establishing Fund 245, which is the Police Department Event Fund. Ms. Tolan.
Yes, for the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan. And again, this is to establish a non-reverting fund. That way we can put these payments for either Colts Camp Live or any other special events into this, that the Westfield Police Department might have security detail at these events that we get paid for, so we can pay out our officers and third-party officers more quickly. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer.
Again, this is on old business. We had a nice conversation about this previously. Any questions this evening? With that, we need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2558.
Second.
Counselor McCarty made the motion, seconded by Counselor Huff. Seeing no other conversation, may we call the roll?
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Depner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. The next order of business this evening is Ordinance 2560, which is 2026 city budget approval. This evening will be a brief presentation by Danielle Carey-Tolan, or will be the mayor.
I'll take it. All righty, folks. This is going to be very much an abbreviated from what I gave you guys a couple of weeks ago. Next slide. Again, just the timeline. The budget was posted September 10th. The initial presentation and public hearing happened on September 22nd. And the vote is tonight, October 13th. This aligns with the timeline mandated by the state. Any delay from this point would put our backs against the wall in terms of hitting those statutory requirements. Next slide. Real quickly, we're going to be reducing the tax rate yet again. This will be the second consecutive year since you've been on council, since I've been mayor. We've dropped that tax rate every year. It's not significant, but it is a drop. And we're going to continue to be very fiscally responsible as we look at that moving forward. Would love to have dropped it a little bit more, but SC1 kind of put a bit of a kink into our chain, and I think the smart thing to do is try to hold the line as much as we can. These tax rates obviously exclude school referendums, and despite what was said by another resident today in the public hearings, our tax rates, I think 9th lowest in the state, 10th lowest in the state. The only city in Hamilton County that is lower than Westfield is Fishers, and it's by like 0.01% or 0.01 on the tax rate. And I'll just say it one more time for those in the room and those listening online. To be the 6th fastest growing city in America, and the stress that's put on our infrastructure, our public safety, and our budgets, and still keep the tax rate as low as we have is big kudos to the previous mayor, previous administration, previous councils, and the 6 of you. John doesn't get any credit. He's not here. The 6 of you up on this stage for continuing to hold the line, being smart, investing in our community, but keeping tax rates low. Also keep in mind, 50% of the budget goes to public safety, police and fire. We will not cut in these areas when we have the demands we have right now. As Chief Gaylord presented a few months ago, we're probably short right now 5 fire stations. 2 are under construction. 3 we haven't even thought of. So we got a lot of work to do, and you'll probably see that percent grow as the city continues to grow. Another highlight is we are finally going to have public pickleball courts. I have not heard more complaints in our city than that, not having pickleball courts. So I'm excited that we're committing to adding that to Freedom Trail Park. Also keep in mind a permanent restroom will go there along with more of a permanent parking spot in that area. Over the next several years, you're going to see a lot of things probably happening at Freedom Trail Park. It is so underutilized. It's an amazing park. Most of our residents don't even know how to get there. $30+ million in infrastructure investments. Pleased to say that we're going to continue to lean in that. I understand the frustration of our residents, but every day we delay, the problems just get bigger and they get more in numbers. So we've got to lean into this over the next few years to get caught up. Continued investment in road infrastructure projects. I won't go into detail. John already covered that. Completion of the Monon Trail Tunnel. I don't think a week goes by I don't see a post on Facebook about that intersection. And then obviously the completion of State Road 32 widening and streetscape project. You will notice that every department in the city is cutting, minus fire and police. And we talked about adding more officers on the street. We talked about adding a fire station and the personnel comes with it. Necessary increases, but every other department minus the Board of Public Works and City Council. I know you guys actually cut, but you held the line with a modest increase in annual salary. Overall, though, we basically cut every single department, and I'm super proud of our staff. Some of these cuts weren't easy, but we made them. And I will say, to add some of the questions we had from residents, and I appreciate those comments around concerns of our fiscal solvency and where we're at, as a city, are we being responsible? At the end of this year, we're going to have, including what we're going to be putting in the 2026 budget back in the rainy day fund, we've got over $56 million in cash reserves. That's 69% of our operating budget. I can promise you there's not a city in Indiana, and maybe not in America, that has that strong of a cash reserve. We need to spend that down. That's the taxpayer money. We either invest it or return it. But with SEA 1 creating some of the havoc that it's creating, we're going to hold the line for a couple of years. We're going to slow down some of the investments as much as we can. And we're going to stay cash heavy in anticipation of the unknown of what may come in 2028 with what we know are going to be additional changes. The recommended from DLGF is to have about 15% of your cash, of your budget in cash reserves. Again, we're at 69%, and we have a city policy of 25%. So we're well above that, and I feel very, very comfortable that we're sitting strong in terms of our budget. Next slide. Again, just recapping, need a vote tonight. We'll have this behind us, and on to 2026 we go. Any questions from me?
Any questions this evening from any counselors?
Just a couple of statements. One, thanks to all the departments for the hard work on, as the mayor had up there on the slide, working to reduce their budgets, and also as a commitment as a councilman to invest in our fire and police and our community. Nothing's more important in our community than our public safety and the safety of our community that makes us such a great community to live in and be proud of. As far as the budget, Mayor and Daniel Carey-Tolan, the Deputy Mayor, thank you for addressing my questions and making adjustments or changes as requested through the process, budget process. I know we went back and forth a few times, and I appreciate your guys' due diligence associated with that. So at this time, that's all the statements I have.
Mayor, real quick from me, the GFOA piece is for second-class cities, I believe, but I believe you have a plan to potentially apply for that, which is pretty much unheard of for a third-class city.
We've actually started that process, yes. We're looking for a certification, correct me if I'm wrong, next year, which is the absolute soonest we could do. And I appreciate, I can't remember which resident brought that up, but I'm shocked somebody else pays attention to that. That is really into the financial weeds, but good for you. And I agree with you 100%. It's super important that we get that certification to show the taxpayers our strength. The other thing we're pursuing is a AAA bond rating. Right now, we have the highest bond rating in Hamilton County, and we're AA positive, and we're going for a AAA. And we're on the cusp of getting it. I don't know if we will. SEA 1 has put S&P at odds with how they rate Indiana in general, but we're going after it because, again, I think that's another barometer showing the taxpayers we're being responsible with their money.
And I don't know if in S&P we just made a site visit that I participated in as well. So
that's right. We invite them down for a meeting to talk more, answer more of their questions. I think we'll know here in the next couple of weeks whether we're going to get that this time around or if we got more work to do. But either way, we're not going to quit until we get it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments this evening?
The only thing I have, and I know I talked to the mayor about this today and also to council leadership, one of the things that I was not in favor of last year when we approved our first budget was the vehicle allowances for certain employees within the city. And I'd like to add to the approval or the vote on the council budget tonight that vehicle stipends or allowances be removed from the salary ordinance or from the budget.
And I just want to make sure we're clear here that this applies to two different departments and two different positions. Because we do have some that have a stipend that actually drive a ton. And I definitely don't want to go into submit an expense report.
For clarification, it's for two positions within the city administration and one with an elected position.
Okay.
Within
and we concur. We're fine with that.
Okay.
Just on that with city legal, I just want to make sure we're going to have to vote on that amendment, correct? Or can we just make that?
I would
voice
have to
amendment?
check on the budget piece. I'd have to look through that. But that in the salary ordinance before the second read and passage, yes, they would both have to be amended. I have to take a quick look at the budget piece to see what we'd have to do with that.
Okay. Councilor McCarty, I think you wanted to make some
comments.
comments.
Not knowing how long the meeting will go for, I thought this would be a good time to also bring up just how awesome some of our departments performed this past Saturday, bulk trash day. I was out there with the Public Works and Community Development teams, many folks having a lot of trash, throwing stuff away, so that went off pretty well. And then also Westfield Welcome Team, they did phenomenal on Saturday. A record-breaking attendance for our annual Barktoberfest, over 1,200 people attendees, and then many more four-legged friends as well. And so with that kind of goes into just my thoughts on one particular issue with the budget proposal. and I've been transparent with my fellow counselors and the administration as well, is just that I think the staff we have currently in terms of communications does a wonderful job as is today. And that's just why, even though I've been very supportive in the past of us expanding departments in order to meet the needs of today, I just feel like we're already there, and that's why I don't necessarily like us adding an additional position for 2026, but outside of that, that's just what I wanted to mention. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And for the record, I'll add that, just a reminder that the mayor's office decides staffing, not the council. You can certainly not approve the funding of it, but that is the statutory responsibilities of the mayor's office. I'll also say, just to follow up, we talked about legal fees and wanting to reduce those by hiring another legal officer, and we're looking at that for 2026. We showed at the time we presented this budget to you guys, we're happy to break it down one more time, but this position actually reduces more money out of our budget than we're putting into it with the headcount addition through consulting services. So again, I think from a consistency standpoint and how I look at staffing, if my department heads can show me they can cut from their budget by hiring somebody and they can make an equal or bigger cut in their department budget, I'll support it.
Kurt, are you going to make a motion? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Will you expand a little bit upon what you're about to say?
Okay.
I didn't quite understand it.
Okay, I'll be making a motion to remove the vehicle allowances from the budget for the two positions within the city administration and within the clerk treasurer's office.
And those are essentially $5,000 each, is that?
Yeah.
It's basically taking $15,000 out of the budget, which would roll into the rainy day fund. With your approval, unless you want to appropriate it somewhere else. But do they have to state where it goes? Or does it matter from your end?
I mean, I think if you're going to start changing the ordinance that we're looking at here, I don't know if you can pull that. Can you pull that up?
It would,
Yeah, I think if there's something you want to change in this document, then we would need to discern where that is and make that amendment. Can you help kind of guide through this?
Yeah, Ben Rager, yes. So if we're going to make an amendment to drop it $15,000, you would reduce the proposed adopted general fund budget by $15,000. So that's what the adjustment would be made.
well, we all know who you are. Can you just identify yourself?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Ben Rager, consultants. Sorry about that.
No, you're more, thank you.
So the 15,000 would stay in the budget, it'd just be moved to another line item. So it'd move to.
It doesn't necessarily need to be moved. You could just actually take it out of the budget. So rather than having 59,108, you'd have 59,093.
Yeah, I think you would need to specify where it comes from, and either it's being removed, or if you want to put it somewhere else, that would have to be decided now and included in the motion and the vote.
Yeah, for the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan, we would just unappropriate that 15,000. It would stay budgeted. It would be total budgeted, but we would just unexpend it
No, that works for me.
in the line item.
Which for the residents in the room, that just basically means we have an extra $15,000 of cash sitting in our budget.
I wasn't aware. Kurt, when did you make this? I mean, were you involving, or did you? I didn't know you were doing this tonight.
I had a separate meeting with the mayor today, and we just were talking about a few things, and I brought that up as something, and he said, if you feel, positive about that, go ahead and move forward with your motion tonight. And then I spoke with Patrick Tam prior to the meeting.
So we do have as Councilor Waniger stated that properly in a motion for our city legal? Or would you like?
Could you restate it?
that?
Sorry, I was still trying to figure out with this
you're totally
document what you
fine.
need to do.
Yes, motion would be to remove 15,000 from the budget regarding the vehicle allowances for 2 city administration position and 1 elected position, and those funds would stay unappropriated within the budget.
Yes, thanks.
So we have a motion in front of us. We need a second. I'll second it. So we have a motion made by Counselor Waniger, seconded by Counselor Tam. This motion is eligible for adoption for an amendment to the budget in front of us. May we call the roll?
Chad Huff,
It's fun to be first. Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
No.
Noah Herron.
No.
Motion carries 4-2.
So now in front of us, we have an amended city budget. Any discussion or conversation on this? Seeing none, we need a motion and a second on the amended ordinance 2550, which is the 2026 city budget approval.
2560.
2560.
Okay.
I need my readers.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2560 as amended.
Yes.
Somebody second.
No second. Sorry.
Counselor Huff has had a long day. He works hard.
It's been a long day.
We have a motion made by Counselor Waniger, second by Counselor Huff. Seeing we see no other discussion. May we call the roll?
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. On the moving on to new business this evening is ordinance 25154, which is a 2026 growth levy appeal. Danielle Carey-Tolan, our deputy mayor.
Yes, for the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan. Before you is a resolution for a growth levy appeal. This is in conjunction with the 2026 budget. It just authorizes the city to pursue an AV growth levy appeal with the DLGF. And just a reminder that we are one of the fastest growing cities in Indiana, and this is why we go after this levy appeal. This will be our last year to apply for this under the new guidelines of SEA 1. So we are estimating about $4.8 million with this growth levy appeal. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it, or Ben, I will get Ben back up here to answer if I don't have the answer.
Thank you, Danielle. So in essence, for those in the room and for others watching and listening, this is really just asking for the tax dollars that we already generate, because we clearly get over their growth cap and have substantially for multiple years. We're just asking for our dollars, our residents' dollars back into our community.
That is correct.
How many dollars is projected that we still won't get? That will go, will it capture it all?
We'll capture,
Okay.
everything that we can,
Okay.
the
good.
4.8.
This is a resolution this evening. While it's under new business, it is eligible for adoption consideration this evening. Do we have any further questions or comments? Seeing none, we need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve resolution 25-154 for the 3-year growth factor levy request.
Second.
We have a motion made by Counselor Waniger, second by Counselor Huff. Seeing no other conversation, may we call the roll?
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next order of business is Resolution 25-155, which is 2026 property tax rate. We have Danielle Carey-Tolan.
Yes, for the record again, Danielle Carey-Tolan here before you as a resolution that provides guidance to the Department of Local Finance on how the city is going to take our tax rate and allocate it amongst the operating budget and debt services funds.
Thank you. Any questions this evening? This is eligible for adoption this evening as it's a resolution.
Make a resolution, or make a motion to approve resolution 25-155 to limit the city property tax rate for tax payable in 2026.
Second.
We have a motion made by Counselor Waniger, seconded by Counselor McCarty. Seeing no other conversation, may we call the roll?
Joe Deppner,
Yes.
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Woniger.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Next order of business is Resolution 25-156, which is the Patch North Point LLC real property tax abatement. Presented, Claire, you haven't been here for a while, so now I get my test. Claire Jelinek is here this evening.
Good evening. For the record, Claire Jelinek, Economic Development Strategist for the city. I'm also joined tonight with Patch Development too. So the resolution, here, let me pull this down. The resolution before you is an incentive recommendation for the council's adoption consideration for a speculative 80,000 square foot enclosed industrial flex space that will be developed by Patch. It's located at 20340 Grassy Branch Road at the corner of East Street and Grassy Branch Road in our North Point Industrial Park. So a quick overview of the project: the developer plans to invest almost $12 million in real property improvements to the site. The project will begin in December of 2025 and will be completed in December of 2026. We're recommending the council consider a 7-year real property abatement with a 10% step down each year for the project. The reasoning behind this recommendation is that there's not a confirmed tenant at this space currently because it's a speculative build. And due to the size of the parcels, the property is really only developable for one single site industrial project. So in our opinion, this is the highest and best use for the property. The incentive structure also remains competitive with other previously approved real property abatements located in North Point Industrial Park. And the tax benefit of the project does exceed the value of the abatement. So Westfield does receive a positive return on investment for the project. So based on today's numbers, when the project is fully complete, we estimate it will generate approximately $6.8 million in assessed value. And just for today, to give you some perspective, the parcels generate approximately a little over $21,000. So I always include my visual of the abatement model. So that's what's on the right-hand side of the screen. Just to give you a snapshot of what today's assessed value and property tax rates are. I do want to caveat with that this might change because it is based on today's numbers. So properties are assessed in 2 buckets. Just as a quick reminder, you have the bucket of just the land and then the improvements on the property. So real property abatement phases in the property tax only for the improvements of the property. The taxing units still collect the land assessed values as of today. So the green shading, which you can never really see on these models, is based on today's land tax value, which is approximately $624. And the blue shading is the phasing in of the anticipated tax revenues based on Patch's improvements and investments of the property, so which is that 80,000 square foot industrial building. So, additional site and just project details and history about the site too. So both parcels are already zoned in the North Point PUD and located in an economic revitalization area. And just as a refresher, an ERA is a mechanism and tool to allow the City Council to review and consider all real and personal property abatement requests located on the parcels. So in 2021, there was an approved 10-year real property abatement for a 55,000 square foot building, speculative building, but no development progress was made since then. And with the changes to the original project scope that the previous council saw in 2021, this requires a renegotiation of the incentives for the property, which is why we're here today. So to avoid future construction delays with projects requesting abatement incentives, locally we are incorporating project milestones and timelines in the resolution that requires developers to meet specific timing of the projects and make sure that they're maximizing on the project scope too. So any failure to not meet these requirements is a consideration of a breach of the developer's commitment and allows us to renegotiate incentives in the future. So there's also been a couple of speculative projects that are brought forth in front of the council, and so I thought it would be helpful just to see kind of the project timelines of other previously approved speculative builds, just to bring awareness onto when these buildings and properties will come online. Patch is very eager to get started, and so I just want to make a note and help visualize that their project will come online before Trailside Business Center Phase 1 will even be complete yet. So again, I always like to reiterate that it's important to have some real estate in our market when we're doing site visits and for our attraction projects, and so we think this is a really good opportunity for the North Point Industrial Park. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Claire, on this chart, just for the petitioner and for the department, I'm very encouraged that, A, we have a petitioner that's willing to do this because we're actually going to get construction. And the economic development team for finding a great partner to really commit to this. That way, as this chart really shows to not just the council, but for all those viewing or in the room, we're going to have a project here that is breaking ground, frankly, this year. So I'm very encouraged by that because it's something that, with the mayor's economic development efforts, obviously, first and foremost, to the entire team, including the council as well, this is very important to us, and we're very appreciative that we have a good partner that's willing to do this and move quickly.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that. I agree. Having this in our inventory for future businesses that want to come to Westfield, that's, I think, a great component associated and getting that done quickly. One question for the abatement, the 7-year abatement, if this is part of the agreement and things, if they don't move forward with, for some reason, with the current property owner or something like that, then that abatement basically goes away.
Right.
Yep.
So we renegotiate those incentives, yeah.
Any other questions or comments this evening? This is a resolution this evening, so it is eligible for adoption this evening. We need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 25-156 for the Patch North Point LLC real property tax abatement.
Second.
We have a motion made by Councilor Waniger, seconded by Councilor Huff. Seeing no other conversation, may we call the roll?
Noah Herron,
Yes.
Chad Huff,
Yes.
Victor McCarty,
Yes.
Patrick Tam,
Yes.
Kurt Waniger,
Yes.
Joe Deppner.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. The next order of business is 2563, which is the 2026 non-elected salary ordinance. This will be presented by Danielle Carey-Tolan.
Yes. For the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan. Before you is the non-elected salary ordinance that we have put together for you to align with all the additional headcounts and new title changes. We also have made some few minor grade changes to some of the positions because they were at the max grade for their position. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but it is kind of self-explanatory.
Again, this is an ordinance this evening, not eligible for adoption this evening, but just for introduction purposes only.
And this is where if you'll want to remove the vehicle stipends under other, so on second read, it would come back with that part removed.
Yes.
Okay.
Where's that at?
Yeah, scrolling. Oh.
You'd have to.
Why would that be under non-elected?
I was looking for it. I didn't see it in there.
The city administrator.
Both elected officials and city employees can get vehicle stipends, so it's under both. It's on both ordinances.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
So we'll remove it on this one and the elected.
Is there an attachment on the elected? I don't see it, but maybe I missed it.
Yeah, it's under 25-64. Under section 3.
It's up higher, yeah.
Up. First page. Keep going.
Shows the clerk treasurer, but I don't see another vehicle allowance, but I don't know.
You got, there's non-elected, which would be the 2 positions in the city admin, and then the other piece there, which would only be reflected in the non-elected salary ordinance. So you would have 2 in the non-elected salary ordinance, and then 1 would be in the elected salary ordinance.
Gotcha. I was thinking the wrong position.
Oh, no, you're totally fine.
Backwards, right? 2 would be in the elected.
2 would be in the non-elected because we have 2 positions that currently receive vehicle stipends.
What are the, I mean.
Oh, no, that's fine. City attorney and I believe our economic development director.
Okay.
So that would be in the city admin side, which I believe they just pulled up earlier. And then the clerk treasurer, obviously, which would be on the elected piece, which is section 3, which is on the screen as well. So that was an introduction. We will, any other questions with regards to the non-elected salary ordinance 2563? We'll move to the ordinance 2564, which is elected officials 2026 salary ordinance. We'll have our Finance Committee Chair, Councilor Waniger, make a brief presentation on this.
If you go ahead and pull that up. Okay. So this is the ordinance for the elected positions within the city, as you can see, for the mayor, clerk treasurer, and city council. Appropriate increases associated with each of those 3 lines. For section 3, it'll be the removal of the vehicle allowance, other stipends, and compensation will stay the same under section 3. Under section 4 and 5 is the PERF retirement and for the mayor and clerk treasurer, city council. So all of those will if approved, receive that. And that is just for note on the city council for that. Just for the public, it doesn't matter if you're a class 2 or class 3 city. All elected officials are eligible for that if they if they see so fit to vote for that. After doing research and sharing that with my council members, Carmel Fishers, Noblesville, the county, and other adjoining counties or municipalities around us also provide the PERF and 457 match to the city council employees. As mentioned previously, the PERF would only be the 3%. Any matching above and beyond that, if you're not vested after the 10-year period, those funds would be then remitted back to the city from the state. And then the 457 would be part of that compensation as well. For the salary portions, I think our adjoining cities are all around 25,000, 26,000 for counselor salaries. So we're just doing the yeoman's work of bringing those back into line with our neighboring communities, and hopefully in the future have other people that are interested in running for city council interested in running.
Again, this is an ordinance just for introduction this evening. Councilor Herron?
Under section 4 and 5, it does say that the mayor and clerk treasurer will receive PERF and retirement contributions. Where does it say city council? Is that somewhere different, or is it?
No, there's got to be some amendments done. This was written by the clerk treasurer and not reviewed by anybody prior to being posted on the agenda. So I have asked our city administrator, our legal, to review this as well, and we'll make adjustments to that.
Just to be on record, I personally would like it to stay the way it is. I don't want to see city council receive PERF or retirement contributions at this time.
Any other comments, questions this evening? Councilor McCarty?
Yeah, just in knowing that we will have to adopt our own ordinance to be eligible for PERF, when would we be expecting that, to adopt the ordinance to be eligible?
Next council meeting.
The next council meeting would be when this ordinance, if amended in its current form, would be eligible for adoption.
It's not required for us to have a separate PERF ordinance also?
I don't believe so. I would kick that to city legal, but I don't believe so based on Councilor Waniger and others.
Yeah, so for the record, Danielle Carey-Tolan, what we would have to do once this gets passed, we would amend our employee manual book, which happens every year during Board of Public Works. We make modifications at the end of every year, so that would happen during that time, and then it would take effect the beginning of next year.
Any other questions or comments this evening? This is purely an introduction only. We will move on to ordinance 2565, which is additional appropriations for the Park District Bond 2024 Fund 340. We have a brief introduction by Danielle Carey-Tolan.
Yeah. For the record, you have an additional appropriation for the Parks District Bond. This is just a portion of that bond. This is for the Simon Moon. This is the $5.5 million because we are ready for that project. The Park Street streetscape will come later. when we're ready for those funds to be spent out of that. But tonight is just an introduction. At the next meeting, you'll have a public hearing and adoption consideration.
Thank you. Any questions or comments this evening? This is an introduction only. Next item of business, City Council comments. Councilor McCarty, an APC update?
Yeah, just a few things, because we covered a lot this evening as well. On our consent agenda was the Creative World School on Spring Mill, and then the North Patch development that we saw this evening. We approved our meeting dates for 2025, so that's kind of heads up that we also need to be considering that as well. Ordinance 2513, Tide Road Crossing, they received an extension. Ordinance 2547, the Grand Junction Overlay District, we saw this evening. Lantern Commons, we saw this evening. Public hearing items we had for Oak Park zoning commitment. This was a little bit unusual that at APC we're actually approving something, but this was one of those unicorn situations. It's just an individual property lot. Ordinance 2554, Schlegel Commerce Park, we saw that our prior council be introduced. That'll head to workshop. And then bonus, would be remiss if I didn't mention that this upcoming Thursday, there's a comprehensive plan meeting at the library at 6 p.m. And that is all. Also do want to say, take this moment to wish my wife a happy 6th anniversary. So thank you. That is today.
So we need to end the meeting quickly. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, please do.
So, just very brief, just on the GFOA piece, which I find fascinating. It's like the mayor actually has a plan here, which is unique for me to say. But and all kidding aside, but when Fishers actually received the GFOA, the principal or founder of Boundary Consulting, which is the city's advisor, was the finance director for the city of Fishers. Their outside advisor and team was led by now our financial strategist, who's now in-house for the city of Westfield. So it's almost a role reversal, as if you had this thought before. But I do want to just point that out, which I always find interesting. Particularly S&P found that fascinating as well in conversations with them as well. So, but other than that, any other comments from the council? If not, Mayor?
Yeah, well, since Victor wants to get home, let me get my page out here. Happy anniversary, Victor. Chelsea's a saint, but happy anniversary. Couple things. Yes, when we talk transparency in the city, that's more than communications. It's also about the finances of our city, and we're following and pursuing every measure possible to show the residents that, one, we're making sound fiscal decisions, and that we have the checks in the boxes from those agencies that tend to hold us accountable. So that's something doesn't happen overnight. It's a long journey to get there. AAA bond rating, we started day one of my administration. GFAO was a little bit later. Really don't get those until you become a Class 2 city. Keep in mind that I have one person on my staff right now that does finance. That is it. And the clerk treasurer obviously has a staff as well, but they're not staffed up. Typically, like a Fishers or a Carmel or a Noblesville have 12 to 15 people on their finance team. I got one, and clerk treasurer's office, I think, has 6 or 7, and a couple of those are clerk people like Kim. So not all of them are even doing finances. So we're shorthanded, which means things around transparency and finances and being able to provide, some of these cities do really good jobs of putting together playbooks and finance information for residents to chew on. We just don't have those resources right now to do that, but we're working towards that. What right now, high on my list is how do we transition from a Class 3 to a Class 2, because you can't shut the lights off when you become a Class 2 and hope you can make payroll and do the finance side. So we're starting to build a strategy with the clerk's treasurer's office on how we staff that, how we transition those powers over. And so there's more to come, and we'll certainly be transparent as we develop that. And then lastly, just on the budget, I want to thank all the council members up here. I can assure you that I had 7 city councilors with 7 different ideas around the budget. And that's tough, right? I mean, everybody says run your city like a business. Well, as a CEO of a company, I don't have to ask 7 people to approve everything I do. But that's the reality of government. That's a good thing. But I want to thank the council. They were very lenient in terms of giving us the ability to create that vision. I asked each one of my staff outside of public safety, cut 5%. They all hit the target. And I think other than a few tweaks here, their council was supportive of that. And I just want to thank you guys. I know sometimes it's hard not to get everything you want. I can assure you nobody up on the stage got what they wanted, everything, and neither did I. But we have a great budget for our city. The 5% cut will not impact what you're seeing as a resident, the amenities we provide, the services we provide, and that's a win for you all. So with that, I will shut up because Victor needs to get home.
And on behalf of all the pickleball groups that I'm in and text chains, I just want to make sure they do not continue to text me. I'm eligible to play pickleball with them, and they will have new courts as well. So I was recently bombarded with that as well. But do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
We can get corn.